Have you ever set a boundary and then felt worse instead of better? Maybe you said no and you were calm, you were clear, and then later you feel that tightness in your chest. Your stomach feels like it's got a pit in it. Your mind starts replaying everything. You question yourself, doubt creeps in, and you wonder what just happened. And sometimes it's dramatic. Sometimes the energy shifts. Sometimes there's pushback. Sometimes someone withdraws from you. And sometimes you feel the distance there used to be instead of the closeness. And that hurts, especially when it's a relationship that you thought was safe, especially with someone you love, and especially when protecting yourself risks changing the dynamic entirely. So if you feel shaken after setting a boundary, I want you to hear this clearly. What you're experiencing is real. It's painful. And choosing to protect yourself in relationships, even the ones that matter most, is the most courageous decision you can make. If we haven't met, I'm Dr. Kelly Kessler. I'm a licensed physical therapist and nervous system based mentor, and I help high achieving women stop abandoning themselves in relationships so they can feel steady in their own truth. And what I want you to understand today is this: the anguish after setting a boundary is not a weakness. It's your nervous system responding to change, risk, and sometimes loss. Imagine you've walked the same path through a field for years. It's worn down, it's predictable, it's familiar. That path is over accommodating, over explaining, keeping the peace, making sure everyone is okay. It's a path that is all too familiar for you. And it's a path that your nervous system knows. So imagine when you step off of this path, things are rocky. It's not smooth. It's not trampled down. It's unknown. And that's why the ground feels so shaky, so uneven. The grass is taller. You can't see what's ahead of you. That's why your system goes into survival mode at this time, because even if you made a decision that serves you in the long run, it's unfamiliar. And your nervous system loves what's familiar. So when you venture off of that path, it's going to trigger you as if it's a risk, as if there's a potential threat. And even the new direction, even if it's healthier, your body registers this uncertainty. And the uncertainty, especially the relational uncertainty, can feel threatening. When you set a boundary, you disrupt a pattern your body has memorized. And when that pattern was what kept the connection intact, when it relied on you abandoning yourself, your system responds strongly. Your heart rate increases, your breathing increases, your chest tightens, and your mind prepares for what could possibly be next. If you feel like you've pulled one thread in a sweater and now you're bracing to see how much unravels, that reaction doesn't mean you did something wrong. It means your nervous system equates attachment to safety. And the thing is, we're wired to feel a sense of belonging. So when belonging feels uncertain or temporary, your body responds. Cortisol increases, your fascia tensions, your system mobilizes to either fight the threat, to run away from it, play dead, or appease whatever it is. And this is the exact moment that you may feel the urge to fix it, smooth it over, and over-explain. And you don't do this because you're weak. You're doing this because your nervous system is trying to protect you from the potential of disconnection. Because again, we're wired to feel a sense of belonging. And if you've learned early on the harmony kept things stable, that being agreeable kept things calm, and that managing others' emotions kept you safe, then friction will feel amplified in the body because you've learned to outsource your sense of safety rather than creating it from within. And that is truly why you can feel that sense that you did something wrong, even though you know deep down you did what was right for you. And here's the reframe I want you to hold on to. Boundary work isn't about courage alone. It's about capacity. And the capacity for you to feel rooted when your relational ground feels unstable, that's where the real work comes in. You can think of a tree in a storm. I have a bunch of trees that fell down in our grounds, and you know what it is about the root system? It's shallow. So when the storm is strong, it's not able to hold. and the wind becomes catastrophic. And it's the same thing in your relationships. When things start to break down outside of you, if your root system is shallow within yourself, you too will feel the pressure to fall into it. But when the roots are deep, the tree can bend without breaking. It can adapt to the pressures of the outside world that inevitably will always be there. And setting the boundary is like the wind. It may feel like protection for a moment, but in the end, it feels like you are being overwhelmed by a change that you're not familiar with. And your nervous system capacity is that root system. So when you have the capacity to hold that boundary, to anchor into your truth, to know yourself well enough that you know this is your own self-protection, your own salvation, this is when the root system holds strong, even if the wind picks up. And it's important to remember that roots grow slowly. They grow through repetition. They grow through patience. And there's also something that many women don't realize. There is often a 24 to 72 hour recalibration window after you set a boundary. And this is often the moment that many women go back, apologize for the boundary, soften themselves, over-explain it, ruminate on every single aspect of the conversation, and take ownership of things that they're not even responsible for. During that time, you likely feel grief. You feel the anxiety, the guilt that pulls you back, hyper-awareness, and a huge sense of loss. And that's not just of that moment, but it's also for the old version of the relationship that you knew, the fantasy that you thought would become true, the one that you thought would be there, the one that you thought any wind could withstand. And that's because sometimes boundaries don't just create tension, they reveal the truth. They reveal the truth that sometimes you don't even want to see yourself. That relationships that are built on healthy dynamics honor boundaries, but ones that are built on control hate boundaries. And that's where tension builds up. And this can deeply change dynamics once you see it, because it's really hard to unsee it once you do. And that doesn't mean that you shouldn't have protected yourself. I want you to hear that again. This does not mean that you should not have protected yourself. It means that allowing the relationship to reorganize around honesty instead of self-abandonment is the next move. And this is where you have that power of choice. You have the power to honor a relationship that feels right for you and not feel the pressure to self-abandon in that relationship for the sake of making it work. And that's real bravery. But I know what it's like when you're in that moment. I know what it's like when your body's reacting, pulling you back into what you knew was familiar. And I know what it's like when everything feels shaky, when you have that deep pressure in your chest and you don't even know how to handle it. So what do you do when your body feels shaken? By setting that boundary. And that's what I want to share with you today. Let's do something simple together. This is something that you can do the next time you set that boundary and you feel it in your body. You feel it pulling you back into those patterns. Place one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly. You're going to take a deep breath in your nose and slowly exhale as slowly as you possibly can. Place both feet on the floor and just notice the sensation in your feet that you're being supported by the floor. And this is that moment of pause that when you feel like you're being drawn back into those patterns, when you feel like you are wondering what just happened and you're doubting everything, this is the moment that you get to pause and just be with yourself for a moment. You get to look at your life through your own lens rather than everyone else's. So again, one hand on your chest, one hand on your belly, breathing in for a count of 4 through your nose. Slowly exhaling for a count of 6. Feeling the ground supporting you and telling yourself, I can protect myself and I am capable of surviving the discomfort that follows. I can protect myself, and I am capable of surviving the discomfort that follows. Because in this moment, your nervous system needs to feel a sense of safety. And doing that with thoughts alone will not work. It's the body that holds the power in this moment. So, creating that safety within your body and anchoring into that statement every time these sensations come up, allowing them to pass through you and knowing that they don't define you. This is an experience from patterning that has probably been there most of your life. And the thing is that this does not guarantee that no one will get upset with you and that no one will be disappointed with you. But at the end of the day, sometimes you're left with the decision to let things go on the outside of your world so that you don't lose yourself in the process. This is where you get to choose the new pattern. Because the old pattern says that if they're upset, if they're disappointed, I'm not safe. But here's where you get to set the new pattern. And the new pattern says that I can be steady even if this relationship shifts. My safety within me does not depend on the harmony of this relationship. And most women think that the brave moment in all this is the boundary that they set. And while boundaries are essential for protection, that's only just a start. The deeper, more courageous work is staying aligned when things feel uncertain afterwards. Letting the relationship reorganize, giving it space and giving yourself space. Letting yourself feel the grief if it comes, which likely it will be there. And letting the discomfort move through your body without interpreting it as failure or a lack of self-worth or feeling like you made a mistake. Because at the end of the day, protecting yourself is never a mistake. This is true self-loyalty. And steadiness is not a personality. It's a trained nervous system capacity. And if you're in this stage where protecting yourself feels both right and destabilizing, that's exactly the work we do in my self-loyalty mentorship. We build the internal stability to hold boundaries even when relationships shift, stretch, or reveal themselves. And this is not done by hardening yourself. This is done by deepening your root system so you can withstand any storm that comes your way. And if this resonates, you can explore the details through the link below in the comments. And whether or not you join me, I want you to remember this. Feeling shaken doesn't mean you were wrong. It means you chose yourself. It means you chose a different pattern than your system was used to. And this is where you get to forge a new path in your life, one that feels aligned with your truth and one that feels like your inner peace is a priority. Thank you so much for joining me today.